Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be reading through some Am I the Butthole? I feel like it's been a while since I've done an Am I the Butthole, but it's not. It's just that I've been so caught up in Today I Effed Up that I haven't actually been checking out the subreddit all that much. So we're going to do that today, and I got annoyed just reading half the titles. So yeah, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. I am particularly overwhelmed today, so it's going to be fun trying to read all this and not have to take 1,000 takes because I keep reading it wrong. But I'm sure we'll get through it together. So, first post, am I the butthole for saying no child support, no opinion? I mean, straight off the bat, I would say absolutely not. I, 17, think I might have to explain how I was born for context. My mum has two friends. I call them Amelia and Jessica. Jessica's husband cheated on her with Amelia, getting her pregnant, but Jessica forgave them. Messy, okay, wow. Then he cheated on her with my mum. Jessica still forgave him and forgave my mum. Jessica, get a backbone, love. My goodness. Which makes me think she's probably the most forgiving person on the planet. Unfortunately, I feel like Jessica's a doormat, not a forgiving person. Like, we need to stop, as a society, basically letting people get away with things we should never let them get away with because we don't want to look mean, or we think that, oh, well, being forgiving and, this nice person who just, accepts everyone for their faults, it makes me a great person. No, it makes you a doormat and it makes you miserable no matter how much you say on the outside that you're fine with people walking all over you all the time. All of yous listening, if you are the type of person that will forgive and forget, we're not taking that anymore. Back to the post anyway. Anyways, my mum insisted that Jessica's husband is my father, but he always denied it. Up until several months ago when he realised how much we look alike. So he agreed to a DNA test. Turns out he is my father. So, 2 affair children by 2 different women for him. He has been visiting about once a month, but things are still awkward between us. I was reading a romance novel when he told me I'm too young for those books and said I must stop reading them. My guy, she's basically like nearly legally an adult. I know 18 realistically is not an adult, let's be real. If I look back at the stuff I was doing when I was 18, I'm like, yeah, I could not really be classed as an adult. Absolutely not. But still, a romance book? Unless it was like a super spicy one, but even still, if she's just sitting at home and reading books, what's the problem? It's better than going out and doing it. I told him I won't, but he said I have to listen to him since he's my father. Oh, I would have given him the middle finger right there and then. So I said, no child support, no opinion. He seemed pretty stung by it. Was it too much? I mean, considering he doesn't know how to keep his sausage in his undies, I really don't think he gets an opinion in anything because quite clearly, he's very stupid. And then down in the comments, deleted user says, not at all. He may be your father, but he isn't your dad. Also, what the F? You're almost an adult. He can't just butt into your life at near adulthood and try playing parent. You did nothing wrong. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine being nearly 18 and some dude comes into your life like, young lady, put that book down. I'd be like, piss off. And then Entire Flower 1259 says, and he's obviously not a good authority on morals. Precisely. And then No Housing 1287 says, yeah, I'd be like, don't you have a wife to cheat on or something? Ooh, burn. Next post, am I the butthole for being angry my tax refund paid off my husband's child support? What is going on with these men not paying their child support? Like, what? And I'll bet you any money, going back to that last story, actually, I've just thought he probably denied this whole time that she was his kid because he didn't want to pay child support. But depending on what country you live in, aren't there some countries that will make you like back pay that whole 18 years? So, I mean, whether it actually would successfully be made to be paid, I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure I heard something like that. Anyway, back to this post. My husband and I filed our taxes jointly this year for the past 2 years. I was completely unaware that he had $7,000 in unpaid child support. I thought he was making regular monthly payments. We were expecting a refund, but only $175 was deposited. Wow. I hope he's good at ducking. That's all I could say. Out with the frying pan. I feel blindsided, violated, and taken advantage of. When I brought this up, he dismissed my feelings and told me I should be grateful the child support is now paid off, because it means he can contribute more money each month. Wow. The logic doesn't make sense to me. His child is still under 18, so he still has to make ongoing payments regardless. I feel physically ill. He is not supportive of how I'm feeling whatsoever, and is actually angry at me for how I am responding. Update. Injured spouse form is in the mail. I had to physically mail it. It couldn't be electronically filed. I have no idea what an injured spouse form is. I hope someone in the comments is going to clarify that for us. I do not know. But what a bell end. Like, he knew what he was doing. I bet you any money he knew that she would end up footing the bill if he just played the long game. What a turd. Human excrement. In the bin. And then down in the comments, SugarCube80 says, lawyer here who used to practice family law before I decided I didn't hate myself. There's no way he didn't know he owed that money. And there's no way he didn't know it was coming out of your refund. The notices are insanely pervasive. His job and bank also knew this would happen. He set you up and hid information from you. Yeah, I concur. And then Perguntastic Commodas. Yep, that was perfect. Before I decided I didn't hate myself. Ouch, that bad? Are you doing okay now? Oh, I can imagine how absolutely god-awful it is having to work with some of these parents. Like, basically 2 adult children who don't know how to get along. Also having children, or one parent who's desperate to make it work, and another one who just doesn't want to cooperate. I'm now, by the way, if you can hear the tippy-tappy in, finding out what an injured spouse form is. Oh, it's from IRS, so that's definitely an American thing. The injured spouse on a jointly filed tax form to get back the share of the joint refund when the joint overpayment is, and then blah, blah, blah. So basically, it's a form that you can file, I assume, to go, that's not my money to be paying, thank you, actually, and get the money back. Oh, I so hope that OP gets the money back. Right then, so this one could be possibly triggering to someone who's been through a DV situation before. I don't think there's like heavy DV in this or anything, but I think some of the comments may allude to that. I had a quick skim when I read the top. So yeah, just be cautious if that's something that is gonna make you feel a bit icky, okay? So, am I the butthole for refusing to apologise for slapping my boyfriend when he smashed our birthday cake to my face? Oh, someone give me strength. My F34 boyfriend, Charles, M38, and I celebrated our birthdays together. This year, I contributed a small private room at a restaurant and we invited 11 people. The rest are his family members. I wanted to celebrate a new achievement in my career and thought it would be great to just splurge a little and get some delicious food. Oh, why not? Always for delicious food, me. So, we had access to the menu, drinks, and our cake. I agreed to pay for half of the food, aside from having rented the small space myself. The space was paid for in advance, the food at the end, as any restaurant. We had issues last year because I felt that he was doing low-effort things whilst I always did my best to give him a nice birthday celebration. We have an income gap, but it wasn't even about money. I was making less money last year and I still made things work for him. Yeah, it's never about money. I know for myself and a lot of, other people, it's more about effort. And if somebody is only wanting you to spend the most money that they possibly could on you, you've got to think whether you want to be with that person. But, if someone's just going, look, I really just appreciate a good amount of effort. You don't have to spend a lot, just effort. So this year, he took care of inviting people, paid for the cake, and got me a spice rack as a present, which I loved. I need a new spice rack. Mine's crap and it falls over all the time. I made myself pretty, got my eyebrows and eyelashes done, and had my hair done. We were told to pose and pretend to blow the candles because I didn't want to blow our germs on the cake. Then we each had a picture alone with the cake. I had a colleague whose husband would insist on putting cellophane over the cake and then poking the candles through the cellophane. And honestly, I think that's genius because he was such a germaphobe and he didn't want the germs on. And I'm like, why does no one do that actually? When it was my turn, I was holding the cake when he pushed my face towards the cake, so I tried to fight it. His family started cheering, and he arched over my body and forced me to bend over until my face smashed in the cake. Ew. No. Why do some blokes do that? It's a power trip, actually. Well, I don't even know why I'm asking. We all know it's a power trip, but grow the fuck up. My friends tried to get him off me, and he resorted to plastering cake and frosting on my hair. I don't need to describe the mess because I'll never be able to end this post, but I ended up slapping him when he attempted to do it again. His mother got up and got into an argument with one of my guests. I had to cross the main floor with the cake all over my face to use the restroom. When I looked in the mirror, I had cake on my neck, and my blouse had red and blue colouring that didn't come off. I had to wash my face and got my hair in a bun because it looked less messy that way. It's all fun and playful when it's just a little dab of like icing on your finger and then boop on the nose. Do you know what I mean? That's all fun and playful. But that's going too far, and that is assault. You know, tackling someone to the floor, smashing their face forcefully into cake, smashing it into their hair and all over their face purposefully to ruin their hair and makeup. Oh, he's lucky he only got a slap, because I tell you what, from where I am, we come in fist swinging. When I came back, his family were all long faces. I told him what he did was unacceptable, and he said it was just a joke. Okay, do it to him then. See if he finds it funny then. That everybody has done that for ages, and that me slapping him just ruined my image in front of his family. Boo-hoo. If they think that's acceptable too, I wouldn't want them to see me in any kind of good light. Because if they think that I'm a good person, clearly I'm a bad person, you know? I started crying and gathered all my stuff to leave. I notified him that he should pay for himself and his guests. My friends insisted on paying for their own food, but I refused, and we ended the night right there. My friends wanted to treat me to dinner elsewhere, but I wasn't comfortable with my appearance. They ended up sending me the money that I spent, and that broke my heart. Charles had to pay for half of the... I mean, it really does sound like a Charles thing to do, doesn't it? That is a very Charles kind of thing. Oh, look at me. It reminds me, obviously being a Brit, the name Charles reminds me of some posh old boy at a university who thinks it's funny to pick on everybody else and that everybody loves him and that his mummy thinks he's hilarious and really no one likes him. So Charles had to pay for half of the remaining bill and got charged a cleaning fee. Good. I still love him, don't, but I'm clear that I'll never be able to forgive him. We talked about it, and I ended things. He's convinced that I never loved him. Of course he is, because he doesn't think anything could do him wrong, because Mummy's told him the sun shines out of his butthole. He acknowledged what he did was wrong, but is adamant that his family hates me for slapping him, and then it's my fault. I told him that he ruined not only our birthday, but also my way to celebrate my career milestone. I've worked very hard to get to where I am, and that his behaviour showed me what my future will look like. And that I'm sorry to say it, but he was so aggressive and so focused on making his family laugh at my expense that I just realised he's not good enough and that I've lost my confidence to be seen with him in public because I don't know what else he will pull out of his ass. Precisely. This is it. These people, they do this sort of stuff thinking they're hilarious. They're showing off for the crowd at someone else's expense. And then when the tables are turned and it's like, no, actually, now you've done that, I don't trust you. Oh, they're blindsided and they can't understand why you wouldn't. It's like, dude, were you in the queue when they were giving out brains? No? He says he's paid for the cake, that he's not saying that it was okay to smash it, but it's not like I paid for everything. He wanted me to apologise to his mum, but I refused. Abso-friggin-lutely, don't you dare apologise to his mummy. She's probably the reason he is the way he is, by the sounds of it. Important. I'm not proud of my reaction. We've never had any physical altercations. He says his mother feels humiliated because what I did, and that she has been struggling with mild depression for years, I didn't know, and I came off as violent. What, so her son looming over you, tackling you to the floor, smashing your face into cake, smashing it into your hair, physically forcing you down, was not violent? Shut up, love. Not the OP, by the way. I'm talking to the mother-in-law there. Am I the butthole for refusing? I already blocked him. No, absolutely not. Edit. His guests paid for the other half of his bill after being told they needed not pay for anything. Ha! Well, speaks volumes, doesn't it, really, all of it? Honestly, Charles sounds like an absolute wanker.
Bing bong! This is an announcement from the world's worst headset microphone. Just wanted to put it in there, if I hadn't have made it very clear before, that obviously we do not condone violence in any manner here. OP was obviously wrong for whacking him one, and he was also wrong for the violence that he enacted on her when he smashed her and overpowered her into the cake. Announcement over. Cheers!
Okay, so another trigger warning for this one, for talks of miscarriage and also absolute just disgusting attitude towards a miscarriage as well, from clearly just an a-hole partner. So yeah, again, if that's something that you can't deal with, feel free to just dip out now. This is the last story anyway, so you won't be missing much other than this. So do not worry. I will be back with other stuff to listen to that will hopefully be less traumatizing than these ones today. Am I the butthole for calling my husband a disgrace after he said my miscarriage ruined his birthday? My goodness. I miscarried yesterday afternoon about 12 p.m. I've never had a miscarriage before, and this baby was so wished for, so it's all so fresh and I'm sobbing right now. So I apologise in advance if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. My husband turned 27 yesterday. I, 26, was pregnant with mine and my husband's 27M second child. Yesterday, I was 8 weeks pregnant. The day before yesterday, we saw a beautiful heartbeat flicking on the screen, and today I'm devastated. I was playing with our 2-year-old when I felt a pressure in my lower abdomen. Not long later, I noticed I was bleeding, and I let my husband know immediately that I had discomfort and bleeding. Before long, I passed what I believe was the fetus, and I messaged him saying, I think I lost the baby. I wanted to keep him updated, and I guess I was seeking some kind of emotional support. I asked him if he could come home, and he said, of course, if it's urgent. What? Of course it's urgent, you bellend. I said I think it is because the pain and bleeding is getting worse and I'm starting to feel lightheaded, and our 2-year-old is unattended in a playroom right now. We have no friends or family near that I could call who would get to us quicker than he could. I am baffled that he said if it's urgent. Like, mate, have you just been plopped onto planet Earth? I ended up very poorly, losing lots of blood, lightheaded, vomiting, etc., and he had to take me to A&E. By the time I was discharged, it was almost 8 p.m. Last week, I had said I'd make him his favourite dinner for his birthday, which he reminded me when we were almost home. What the... Okay, I am just baffled by this. Before I had my eldest, had a miscarriage around about the same time as this, and it was also at home. I ended up having to go to hospital with a ton of bleeding. I was there 4 hours. Basically, I had to have a small procedure just to finish off what my body had started. I'm not going to get too far into it because it is very graphic. But I was in, afterwards, so much pain, even though I got given strong painkillers. And when I took them, I tell you, I thought I was on a spaceship. I was still in so much pain. And I'm just baffled because I looked like I was on death's door. When you lose so much of the red stuff, I don't want to keep saying the B word because I have a feeling if you say it too much, you get kind of suppressed. But if you lose too much, you start to look very, very sickly real quick. And I'm just baffled at this selfish, disgrace of a man saying to her, oh, don't forget you got to cook for me when we get home. Mate, get takeaway and grow up while you're at it. Anyway, I'm fuming. I said I wasn't feeling up to it and that whatever takeaway he wants is on me. He said, for F's sake, under his breath, and then muttered something along the lines of, this bullcrap has ruined my birthday. He didn't stop to get any takeaway. He just drove straight home. He put our son to bed and I went to bed and I'm not sure what he did after. I didn't see him this morning as he said he had already left for work. He's not messaged me all day and he got home a few hours ago. It's now 8:40 p.m. and he's been giving me the silent treatment. I tried to speak to him about an hour or so ago and he ignored me and I called him a disgrace. He slammed the bedroom door and locked me out the bedroom. His mum has since messaged me and said I need to be patient as he has also had a loss. Absolutely, he's also had a loss and he's allowed to feel bad about it. What he's not allowed to do is take it out on her, be absolutely terrible about being there for her in the first place, and just be an absolute penis. Do you know? Because, yes, he's going through a loss too, but she is going through the worst physical pain you can feel, because not only is it physically that your insides have decided to tear themselves apart, and it certainly feels like that, might I add, you're also emotionally completely blasted. Do you know what I mean? And his mum's a frigging disgrace for being a woman who has also had kids and not being able to see and empathise with the OP. She didn't ask how I was or anything. He's obviously speaking to his mum, but why isn't he opening up and speaking to me? She said I was harsh. I'm feeling utterly emotionally neglected right now. My body has been through emotional and physical hell. I understand that my miscarriage came at an effing inconvenient time for him as it was his birthday and all, and I'm not sure if it's the hormones making me feel crazy, but is it nuts to contemplate divorce? Am I the butthole for calling him a disgrace? No, absolutely not. He's allowed to feel emotional. He's allowed to feel bad. He's allowed to say, I need a little bit of time alone. What he's not allowed to do is completely stonewall you out when you are really needing him. Like, if you can't rely on him in your time of need, what's the point in him exactly? Like, a decent husband will lean on you whilst you lean on him, you know? And you will go through it together. Now, all I'm going to say is when I had mine, I didn't get much support either. And am I still in that relationship? No, I'm not. I think that speaks volumes, doesn't it? And then down in the comments, OK Childhood 9774 says, not the butthole. And I can't imagine spending another minute under the same roof as this horrible, immature, cruel man. Yes, the miscarriage of a wanted pregnancy can be a huge loss for a man too. But that doesn't give him the right to be so selfish and treat you so cruelly. Your husband has showed a side of himself that he can never hide again. Ask yourself if this is the kind of man you want in your life going forward. I'm so sorry for your loss. And then Long Jumping Pick 706 says, and let's be honest here, that piece of crap does not give two Fs about this loss. And then Mr. Murphy says, yeah, he was more upset about not being treated to a B-Day dinner than about losing his child. What the F? Now, I'm not obviously going to sit here and say he doesn't care, because he might well do, and he might just be really selfish and only cares about his own pain, which is what I think it is. But yeah, sitting there going, oh, you've been through a horrific time today. You're going to make me my B-Day dinner? Baffling. Now, I know I may be biased on this one because I have been through something extraordinarily similar. So I know my opinion on thinking that the husband is an absolute piece of shite could be very biased opinion. But I kind of feel like it's not. I kind of feel like that goes without saying, and any decent person would agree with that. So yeah, oh, goodness me, what a tosser. All I'm going to say is anyone else going through a situation like that, if your other half is doing the same, treating you that way, it is not right. They should be there for you as much as obviously you will be there for them too, because you're both going through a loss. If they treat you like that, honestly sit there and think how much you could trust this person to have your back in any other situations that aren't all about them. And that's all I'll say on that. Okay, so I think that's going to do us for today. I hope all the people in these stories have found a solution and are now in their happy places, because none of them were nice today, really, were they? Probably not the best to read when you're very overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed because I have an MRI later in the week, and very claustrophobic. Also claustrophobic. And I keep freaking myself out about it. So yeah, I'm very stressed, very, 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 very on edge and very stressed, but it's no big deal really. I know I'm being a wet lettuce, so, do not feel bad for me. It is me being an absolute fanny, I know, don't worry, but yeah. If you're wondering why I'm overwhelmed, that's why. Anyway, if you made it all the way to the end, then I appreciate you very, very much. Go watch something happy. You may need to. If you give a little like and subscribe, I'd appreciate you even more. Other than that, whatever it is you're doing for the rest of the day, I hope you have a really good day. Goodbye.